Bismillah. How's the voice? How's the voice? Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Sorry for the delay, brothers and sisters. I had to make a quick run. Subhanallah. How about we get started right away, inshallah? Since we have a full room and we're starting a half hour late. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. له النعمة وله الفضل وله الثناء الحسن صلوات الله البر الرحيم والملائكة المقربين على سيدنا وحبيبنا وعظيمنا وقائدنا وقرة أعيننا محمد المصطفى المرتضى المجتبى وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تلا اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت يا حي يا قيوم تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا اللهم اهدنا وسددنا وتب علينا واجعل أعمالنا خالصة لوجهك الكريم. Lillahi tabaraka wa ta'ala. Have the good intentions. Make sure you're in this session for the sake of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Let us inshallah continue going over the immediate knowledge, ilmul hal, that knowledge that a person needs for the immediate obedience to Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Make sure you have the good intentions. I remind myself and I remind you. وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. I'm going to back up a little bit, inshallah. And we're going to mention again from the meaning of Muhammadur Rasulullah and then continue from there. فيقول المؤلف رحمه الله ومعنى محمد رسول الله أن محمد بن عبد الله بن عبد المطلب الهاشمي أي المنسوب لبني هاشم. The meaning of Muhammad is the messenger of Allah is that Muhammad ibn Abdullah, Muhammad the son of Abdullah, Muhammad son of Abdullah, son of Abdul Muttalib, the Hashemite, ay al-mansuba li bani Hashim, meaning the one who is attributed to the clan of Hashim, لأن عبد المطلب هو ابن هاشم ابن عبد مناف, because Abdul Muttalib is the son of Hashim, son of Abdul Manaf, al-Qurashi, the Qurashite. أي المنسوب لقبيلة قريش, meaning the one who is attributed to the tribe of Quraysh. لأن هاشما يرجع نسبه إلى فهر ibn Malik, because Hashim's lineage goes back to فهر ابن مالك, فهو هاشم ابن عبد مناف ابن قصي ابن كلاب ابن مرة ابن كعب ابن لؤي ابن غالب ابن فهر ابن مالك. And so he is Hashim, son of Abdul Manaf, son of Qusay, son of Kilab, son of Murrah, son of Ka'b, son of Lu'ay, son of Ghalib, son of Fihr, son of Malik, ibn Nadr, son of Nadr, وهو الملقب بقريش ابن كنانة ابن خزيمة ابن مدركة ابن إلياس ابن مضر ابن نزار ابن معد ابن عدنان. And Nadr is the one who was given the nickname of Quraysh ibn Kinana, Quraysh was his nickname, the son of Kinana, the son of Khuzaymah, the son of Mudrika, son of Ilyas, son of Mudar, son of Nizar, son of Ma'ad, son of Adnan. This lineage is agreed upon. The Prophet's lineage back to Adnan that I gave you, just read to you now, that is the lineage of the Prophet back to the man whose name is Adnan. And Adnan, by consensus, his lineage goes back to Ismail, the son of Ibrahim. However, there is different sayings about how Adnan's lineage reaches Ismail. But there is no difference that Adnan's lineage goes back to Ismail, alayhi salatu wassalam, Ismail ibn Ibrahim, Ismail son of Ibrahim. Now knowing all of that lineage is not an obligation, is not even part of the immediate knowledge, but we're just expounding a little bit. It's enough for you to know, as an obligation, that Muhammad is the son of Abdullah, the Arabian prophet from the tribe of Quraysh. If you knew that and believed that, then you fulfilled your obligation. Abdullahi wa rasuluhu ila jami'il khalq. He is the slave of Allah and His messenger to all of the creation. Min insin wa jinn. In reference to the humans and jinn. Yani he is the slave of Allah and the messenger of Allah to all humans and jinn. So the prophethood of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam is not specific to the Arabs, nor is it specific to the people of his time, nor is it specific to the humans. Rather, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the messenger of Allah to all humans and all jinn. From his time, that is. صادق في جميع ما أخبر به. He is truthful in all of what he conveyed. صلى الله عليه وسلم. وبلغه عن الله. And all of what he is truthful in all that he informed about and conveyed from Allah. ومن ذلك عذاب القبر. And among that is the torture of the grave. لقسم من الناس. For some of the people. It's obligatory to believe in that. It is confirmed from the Messenger of Allah that there is torture of the grave. وَنَعِيمُهُ لِقِسْمٍ مِّنَ النَّاسِ. And the enjoyment of the grave for some of the people. وَسُؤَالُ الْمَلَكَيْنِ مُنْكَرٍ وَنَكِيرٍ. As for the details of that, we'll skip that for now. Why? Because that's the point here of the immediate knowledge. The immediate knowledge means what the person needs now, right now. Bismillah, how's the voice, how's the voice? Okay. The immediate knowledge is what the person needs now, al-an, right now. And we can save the details for other lessons. Anyone who maybe never heard of the enjoyment of the grave or the torture of the grave, then if you have a question, anyone who has any question, when I give you a chance for questions, then let me know, insha'Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. وَسُؤَالُ الْمَلَكَيْنِ مُنْكَرٍ وَنَكِيرٍ. قال, and the questioning of the two angels, Munkar and Nakir. للميت بعد دفنه. For the questioning to, or the questioning of the two angels questioning, the two angels Munkar and Nakir, questioning the dead person after his burial. The two angels Munkar and Nakir questioning the dead person after his burial. مَا رَبُّكَ وَمَنْ نَبِيُّكَ وَمَا دِينُكَ. They asked the person, who is your Lord, who is your prophet, and what is your religion? وَالْمَلَائِكَةُ وَهُمْ مُكَلَّفُونَ ذَوْ أَرْوَاحٍ. And believing in the angels is part of what the prophet came with. And وَالْمَلَائِكَةُ, and the angels, وَهُمْ مُكَلَّفُونَ, the angels are accountable. ذَوْ أَرْوَاحٍ, they have souls, that means they're alive. لَا يَأْكُلُونَ وَلَا يَشْرَبُونَ, they don't eat and they don't drink. وَلَا يَنَامُونَ, and they do not sleep. لَيْسُوا ذُكُورًا وَلَا إِنَاثًا, they are not males nor females. لَا يَعْصُونَ اللَّهَ مَا أَمَرَهُمْ, they do not disobey Allah in what He ordered them. وَيَفْعَلُونَ مَا يُؤْمَرُونَ, they do what they are ordered to do. وَالْأَنْبِيَاء, and believing in the prophets. وَعَلَيْكُمُ السَّلَامُ وَرَحْمَةُ اللَّهِ. وَهُمْ ذُكُورٌ مِّنَ الْبَشَرِ, they are male human beings. أَوْحَى اللَّهُ إِلَيْهِمْ, Allah gave revelation to them. وَأَمَرَهُمْ بِالدَّعْوَةِ إِلَيْهِ, and He commanded them to call people to believe in Him. وَتَبْلِيغِ الْوَحْيِ, and to convey the revelation. فَمَنْ أُمِرَ مِنْهُمْ بِتَبْلِيغِ شَرْعٍ رَسُولٍ. لحظة. فَمَنْ أُمِرَ مِنْهُمْ بِتَبْلِيغِ شَرْعِ رَسُولٍ كَانَ قَبْلَهُ. So any one of them who was commanded to convey the law of a messenger who came before him, فَهُوَ نَبِيٌّ غَيْرُ رَسُولٍ, then he is a prophet who is not a messenger. كَدَاوُودَ وَسُلَيْمَانَ, like David and Solomon. أُمِرَا بِتَبْلِيغِ شَرْعِ تَوْرَاهِ, they were commanded to convey the laws of the Torah. التي أنزلت على سيدنا موسى, that Torah which was revealed to our master Moses, who was a Muslim prophet, of course. All the prophets were Muslims. Moses, Jesus, Abraham, Noah, all of them with no exception. وَمَنْ أُمِرَ بِتَبْلِيغِ شَرْعٍ أُوحِيَ إِلَيْهِ, and whoever was commanded to convey a law that was revealed to him, فيه أحكام مختلفة عن أحكام شرع الرسول الذي قبله, and it has in it laws that are different from the laws of the messenger before him. فهو نبي رسول, then he is a prophet who is a messenger. كموسى وعيسى ومحمد صلوات الله وسلامه عليهم, like Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad. May the salah, may the salawat of Allah and the salam of Allah be upon all of them. وَالْكُتُبِ, and it is obligatory to believe in the books. الْمُنَزَّلَةُ عَلَى الْأَنْبِيَاءِ, those that were revealed to some of the prophets. كَالتَّوْرَاةِ وَالْإِنْجِيلِ وَالْقُرْآنِ, like the Torah, of course the original one, not the perverted one that exists now, and the Injil, which I will not translate as Bible, and I won't even call it the original Bible, I'm going to call it the Injil. As for the Bible that exists today, it is, wallahi, it is a filthy perversion. It is so perverted that it's disgusting. I don't even mean to be offensive, but it's disgustingly perverted. Subhanallah, they don't even know who are most of the, or many of the authors of those books. If you just do some easy research in the books of the Christians themselves, they say this book is generally attributed to so-and-so as the author. This book, its author is unknown. This book, it is said so-and-so wrote it and some said so-and-so wrote it, etc. This is what they call the Word of God. A book they don't even know who put it together, who wrote those things, where did they come from. And it's full of all kinds of kufr and blasphemy, and the laws that were revealed to Prophet Isa are gone from that book. All that remains of the Injil in that book are very few things, such as don't steal and don't fornicate, and by meaning and not by the expression, by the meaning and not by the wording that was revealed. So I'm only going to call it the Injil, and I'm not going to call it the Bible or the original Bible or the Gospel or anything like that. Al-Injil. Wal-Qiyamah, and to believe in Judgment Day. وَهِيَ قِيَامُ الْمَوْتَى لِلْحِسَابِ. It is for the dead to stand, meaning to come back to life, so that they would be judged for their deeds. وَالْبَعْثِ, and the resurrection. وَهُوَ خُرُوجُ الْمَوْتَى مِنَ الْقُبُورِ. It is for the dead people to come out of their graves. بَعْدَ إِعَادَةِ الْأَجْسَادِ الَّتِي كَانَتْ بَلِيَتْ. After the bodies that had decayed are reconstructed. وَإِعَادَةِ الْأَرْوَاحِ إِلَيْهَا. And the souls go back to those bodies. This is resurrection. That the bodies that decayed will be reconstructed. Allah will make them come back together again. Allah will recreate those bodies that decayed and turned into dust. And He will make their souls go back into those bodies, and those people will become alive again. They come out of their graves, as is mentioned in the Quran, and they say, Ya waylana hadha yawmuddin. They say, woe is us. This is Judgment Day. They will come out of their graves alive after they had died. Their bodies will come back together again if their bodies were among the bodies that decay. So the author says, وَالْقِيَامَةِ, and Judgment Day. وَهِيَ قِيَامُ الْمَوْتَى لِلْحِسَابِ. It is the time when the dead will come out of their graves, will stand. For the dead will come back to life and stand to be judged for their deeds. وَالْبَعْثُ, and resurrection. هُوَ خُرُوجُ الْمَوْتَى مِنَ الْقُبُورِ. It is the exiting of the dead from their graves. بَعْدَ إِعَادَةِ الْأَجْسَادِ الَّتِي كَانَتْ بَلِيَتْ. After the return of the bodies, yani the reconstruction of the bodies that had decayed. This statement implies that some of the bodies don't decay. He says, بَعْدَ إِعَادَةِ الْأَجْسَادِ الَّتِي كَانَتْ بَلِيَتْ. يعني أَمَّا الَّتِي لَمْ تَبْلَى فَلَا إِعَادَةَ لَهَا. As for the bodies that didn't decay, then they don't come back together because they never decayed, like the bodies of the prophets and others. قال والبعث, and resurrection. وهو خروج الموتى من القبور. It is the exiting of the dead from the graves. بعد إعادة الأجساد التي كانت بليت. After the reconstruction of the bodies that had decayed. وإعادة الأرواح إليها. And for those and for the souls to come back to them. And by the way, this is also from our religion proof that there's no such thing as reincarnation. Why? Because if there's reincarnation, after our religion, for us as Muslims, after our religion has confirmed that there's resurrection by the bodies being recreated and the souls going back to the bodies, then had there been such thing as reincarnation, then there would be more bodies than souls. Because the belief of reincarnation is that a person dies and then his soul goes into another body. And then when that body dies, his soul goes into another body, etc., etc. So on Judgment Day, as we know, as the Prophet taught us, وَهُوَ صَادِقٌ, and the Prophet ﷺ is definitely truthful. He said that there is resurrection, which is for the bodies to be recreated and the souls to go back into the bodies. And then the people become alive again. So if there is such thing as reincarnation, that means there will be way more bodies than souls. So then so many bodies will come back without souls to go inside of them. And how would that be? So there's no such thing as reincarnation. And there's other reasons why reincarnation is invalid, but we won't go into that for now. فَقَالَ وَالْبَعْثُ. I'll try it for those of you who are copying and you'd like to make a translation of this document. I know more than one person is working on that, and I'm sure each one of you would hope to be the one whose copy is used. And I'll remind you of the saying of Allah, وَلِذَلِكَ فَلْيَتَنَافَسِ الْمُتَنَافِسُونَ, which means for those pleasures of paradise, then let those who aspire, yani let them work. Yani there's competition in religion. You can. There's no harm, and yani the believers are encouraged to compete in doing the good deed. Yani, for example, you want to get the reward of calling the adhan? Well, you need to beat the next guy. You want to call the adhan, you got to get there before the next guy does, because he's going to call it before you. Then you get the reward of the adhan, or else you miss it because he got it before you. You want to pray in the first row? You want to get the reward of praying in the first row? Then you better get there before it gets filled up. Like that, the believers compete in doing the good deeds. So, whenever I stop to explain something, inshallah, I'll try to either remember to differentiate for you, or I'll go back and I'll repeat, so that you can know exactly what was being translated. Especially if you can understand the Arabic, then it's easy for you to see what's being translated and what's additional. But I'll try to go back and repeat, so that you can differentiate between what's in the book and what's additional. قال والبعث, and the resurrection, وهو خروج الموتى من القبور بعد إعادة الأجساد التي كانت بليت. Resurrection, and the resurrection, which is the exiting of the dead from the graves after the reconstruction of the bodies that had decayed, وإعادة الأرواح إليها, and the return of the souls to them, والحشر, and the gathering, or if you want, the assembly, or if you want, it might even be translated as the herding. People will be herded on Judgment Day. The angels will herd them. Now, they will be gathered together and made to go. والحشر وهو جمع الناس بعد ذلك للسؤال. And I'm going to dare to use that word, herding. The herding, which is the gathering of the people after that, yani after what we already mentioned, so that they would be questioned. والحساب, and the questioning, or not the questioning. والحساب here means the presentation of the deed, the presentation of the book of deeds. بأن يوقف كل إنسان على أعماله التي كانت عملها في الدنيا. By every human being being presented with his deeds that he did in the present life. والثواب, and reward. أي الجزاء الذي يجازاه المؤمن في الآخرة, which is the compensation that the believer is given in the hereafter على أعماله الصالحة, for his good deeds, مما يسره, and it pleases him, والعذاب, and the torture or the punishments, أي الجزاء الذي يجازاه العبد, that is the compensation given to the slave في الآخرة, in the hereafter, مما يسوءه, among what distresses him, على ما عمل من سيئات, for the bad deeds that he did, والميزان, and the scale, أي الجزاء الذي وهو الجرم الذي توزن به الأعمال, it is the body, the mass, something physical, upon which the deeds will be weighed, والصراط, and the bridge, وهو جسر يضرب فوق جهنم, it is a bridge that is put above hell, ليمر عليه الناس, so that the people would pass over it. فمنهم من يقع عنه من الأول, among them are those who will fall off of it from the beginning. ومنهم من يسقط عنه بعدما يمشي مسافة, and among them are those who will fall from it after they walk some distance. ومنهم من يمر عليه فينجو, and among those who are those who pass over it and will be safe, or saved. Naja yanju. We say najahullah, Allah saved him. So naja yanju, he was saved. فنجahullah, Allah saved him. والشفاعة الأخروية, and the intercession of the afterlife. وهي طلب إسقاط العذاب عن بعض المؤمنين. It is for some to seek the punishment of others. It is for some to seek for the punishment of others to be dropped. It is for some to seek for the punishment of others, believers, to be dropped. The punishment of other believers to be dropped. لأنه لا يوجد شفاعة لا شفاعة للكافر. There is no intercession for kafir. والشفاعة الأخروية, so the intercession of the hereafter. وهي طلب إسقاط العذاب عن بعض المؤمنين. It is seeking, it is for some to seek, for believers, that is, believers to seek. Who does shafa'ah? Who does intercession? Believers. Who receives intercession? Only believers. So, it is for some, meaning believers, it is for some to seek the dropping of the punishment from other believers. They're asking for others. They're asking on behalf of others. وَالنَّارِ, and hell. أي جهنم. وَهِيَ دَارُ الْعَذَابِ, it is the abode of torment. تحت الأرض السابعة, it is presently below the seventh earth. وَالْجَنَّةِ, and paradise. وَهِيَ دَارُ النَّعِيمِ, it is the abode of bliss. فوق السماء السابعة, it is presently above the seventh sky. وَالْخُلُودُ فِيهِمَا, and the everlasting stay in both of them. أي في الجنة والنار, that is, in paradise and in hell. فأهل الجنة يخلدون في نعيمها بلا موت ولا فناء. And so the people of paradise dwell forever in its bliss, without death and without annihilation. وَأَهْلُ النَّارِ يَخْلُدُونَ فِي عَذَابِهَا. And the people of hell stay forever in its torment. بِلَا فَنَاءٍ وَلَا تَخْفِيفٍ وَلَا رَاحَةٍ. Without annihilation, without any lessening of the torture, and without any relaxation. وَرُؤْيَةُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ لِلَّهِ تَعَالَى بِالْعَيْنِ أي بِأَعْيُنِ رُؤُوسِهِمْ. And the believers, yani among what the Prophet taught us is, among what he conveyed about, among what he taught about is, the believers seeing Allah with the eyes of their heads, fil akhirah, in the hereafter. لكن لا كما يرون المخلوقات, but not how they see the creation. في جهة أمام أو خلف أو فوق أو تحت أو يمين أو شمال, which is by, yani they see the creations by seeing them in a direction before them, or behind, or in front, or below, or to the right, or to the left. لأن الذي يرى في جهة هو المخلوق المختص بحجم وصورة ومكان. Because whoever is seen in a direction is a creation that is specified with a size and an image and a place. وَاللَّهُ تَعَالَى لَا يُشْبِهُ الْمَخْلُوقَاتِ. And Allah the Exalted does not resemble the creation. فَلَا يَتَّصِفُ بِالْحَجْمِ وَلَا بِالصُّورَةِ. And so he is not attributed with a size, nor with an image. وَلَا بِالْكَوْنِ فِي مَكَانٍ. Nor is he attributed with being in a place. بَلْ هُوَ تَبَارَكَ وَتَعَالَى مَوْجُودٌ لَا يُشْبِهُ الْمَوْجُودَاتِ. Rather, he, the glorified and exalted, is existing and not resembling anything else that exists. لا يحويه مكان. No place contains him. ولا يجري عليه زمان. And no time runs upon him. مهما تصورت ببالك فالله بخلاف ذلك. Whatever you encompass, or whatever you imagine in your mind, Allah is different from that. ولهذا فإن المؤمنين يرون الله وهم في الجنة بلا كيف ولا مكان ولا جهة. And this is why the believers will see Allah while they are in paradise without Allah having a manner of being or a place or a direction. ولا يكون بينهم وبينه مسافة. And there will be no distance between them and him. كما قال الإمام أبو حنيفة, as Imam Abu Hanifa said, رضي الله عنه, may Allah accept his deeds, لأن المسافة تكون بين حجمين. Because distance is something that exists between two masses. والله عز وجل ليس حجما. And Allah, the mighty and exalted, is not a mass. وأن الأنبياء جميعهم بلا استثناء. لحظة. وأن الأنبياء جميعهم بلا استثناء معصومون من الكفر. And that, and among what the Prophet taught, is that the prophets, without exception, are impeccable, infallible, impeccable of falling into kufr, or from falling into kufr. I'm actually not sure which preposition goes with impeccable. Impeccable from? Impeccable of? Maybe somebody will help me out on that. فَلَا يَعْبُدُونَ غَيْرَ اللَّهِ طَرْفَةَ عَيْنٍ. And so they would not worship other than Allah, or even the blink of an eye. لَا فِي الصِّغَرِ وَلَا فِي الْكِبَرِ. Not in their childhood nor in their adulthood. Not in childhood nor in adulthood. وَمِنْ ارْتِكَابِ الْكَبَائِرِ. And they are impeccable from falling into a major sin, into the major sins. كَالزِّنَا, such as fornication. وَصَغَائِرِ الْخِسَّةِ. And from committing the small sins that display low character. كَسَرِيقَةِ حَبَّةِ عِنَبٍ. Like stealing one grape. وَاخْتِلَافِ النَّظَرِ إِلَى النِّسَاءِ الْأَجْنَبِيَّاتِ بِشَهْوَةٍ. And stealing a look at marriageable women with desire. And stealing a look of desire, that means looking quickly, without anyone noticing. To steal a glance. Stealing a look of desire at the marriageable women. قبل النبوة وبعدها. Before prophethood and after it. وهم مبرؤون من كل صفة دنيئة. They are clear of any low attribute. ومن كل صفة خلقية أو خلقية تمنعهم من إقامة الحجة أو تنفر الناس منهم. And they are clear of any physical attribute, any bodily attribute, or defect in their character that prevents them from establishing the evidence, or that would repel people from them. So prophets are not stupid, for example, because the one who's stupid cannot establish the evidence. And the prophets don't get sick to the point that worms come out of their bodies, which is a lie of the Jews against Prophet Job. Because the one who has worms coming out of his body, no one would like to sit with him and listen to him. Like they're saying that one of the prophets is like a zombie or something. He has worms coming out of his body in their claim. وهم مبرؤون من كل صفة دنيئة. They are clear of every low attribute. ومن كل صفة خلقية أو خلقية تمنعهم من إقامة الحجة أو تنفر الناس منهم. And they are clear of every physical quality or manners that prevent them from establishing the evidence or that repel people from them. وتمنعه من الاستماع إلى دعوتهم, and prevent the people from listening to the da'wah. دينهم جميعا عليهم صلوات الله وسلامه هو الإسلام. The religion of all of the prophets, may the salawat of Allah and His salam be upon them, is al-Islam. لقول الله تعالى في سورة آل عمران, because of the saying of Allah the Exalted in Surah Al-Imran, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Which means, whoever chooses a religion other than Islam, it will not be accepted from him, and in the hereafter he will be among the losers. And brothers and sisters, keep this ayah in mind. Because among the people are those who misinterpret some verses of the Quran, such as إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَالَّذِينَ هَادُوا وَالنَّصَارَى وَالصَّابِئِينَ مَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ, etc. until the end of the ayah, which in the ayah mentions those who believe, those they say the ayah means those who believed and those who were Jews and those who were Christians, etc. Whoever was a believer, even if he's a Jew or a Christian or otherwise, then he will go to paradise. This is not the meaning of that ayah, and there is no ayah in the Quran that says that other than believers go to paradise. So if someone produces such an ayah, then produce this ayah. In Surah Al-Imran, ayah 85, it says here, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Whoever chooses a religion other than Islam, it will not be accepted from him. So that person has to admit that he has misunderstood the Quran, or else he has to say that the Quran contradicts itself, which he cannot say. And if he denies the ayah, this ayah, then he's a kafir for sure. So he has to admit that he misunderstood the ayah that he's claiming. Even if you don't know how to explain that ayah, it's not a condition that you know how to explain that ayah. Just give him this ayah. Tell him, no matter what you think the ayah is, no matter what the ayah means, whether I know or you don't know or I don't know, whatever, for sure it doesn't mean what you're saying, because Allah said, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ. Whoever takes a religion other than Islam, it will not be accepted from him. قال دينهم جميعا عليهم صلوات الله وسلامه هو الإسلام. Their religion, the religion of all of them entirely, may the salawat of Allah and His salam be upon them, is al-Islam. لقول الله تعالى في سورة آل عمران, because of the saying of Allah the Exalted in Surah Al-Imran, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. And which means whoever takes a religion other than Islam, it will not be accepted from him, and in the hereafter he will be among the losers. وَأَوَّلُهُمْ آدَمُ أَبُو الْبَشَرِ. The first of the prophets was Adam, the father of men. وَآخِرُهُمْ وَأَفْضَلُهُمْ مُحَمَّدٌ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. And the last of them and the best of them is Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Any questions? Someone can write it, inshallah ta'ala. Someone will be kind enough to write it out for us, inshallah. Any other question? You're welcome. Thank the one who does it, inshallah. Adnan lineage goes to Ismail, the son of Ibrahim. You're welcome. Any other questions? You can ask questions outside of the lesson afterwards, inshallah. Towards the end. And usually, I won't even say usually, but lately, I've been allowing questions at the beginning of the lesson. However, today I started late. I had to postpone the lesson. We usually start at 9, and I started at 9:30 because I had to make a run. And for that reason, I didn't allow questions at the beginning of the lesson. So if you don't mind, hold your question until the end, and I'll be happy to answer for you whatever I can, inshallah. So if any other questions? And let me remind you, brothers and sisters, hold your questions until I give you a chance to ask. But you can type your question if you want and just hold it there. Just don't post it. That way, when I ask you if you have any question, you can just post your question quickly. And if you have another question, you can copy the first question and type the second question and keep both of them ready. Insha'Allah. Let's continue. Oh, question. Are you changing the time due to the end of daylight saving? No. I'm not changing the time. 9 o'clock, inshallah. Why? Did it affect you? Because for me, it's still 9 o'clock. I know some countries don't change the time. So America changed the time and maybe another country didn't change the time. طيب. Anyway, I'm going to keep it at 9. Hope I don't make it later. Well, Tuesdays are usually okay. Thursdays are the ones that are a little tighter for me. If anything gets changed, it would most likely be Thursday. That one, Sometimes I feel like I should push it back because sometimes I get in and it's like 5 minutes before class on Thursday. So I try to keep it 9 for those of you who are already up late to listen to the lesson. May Allah reward you. And those who got affected by the time change, then correct your intentions. Don't forget the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and other scholars of Islam who would travel to another country for one hadith, let alone staying up late, not just staying up late for a lesson, or waking up to listen to a lesson while still sitting in your home, having what do you want? If you have a microwave, you can make some tea, some hot chocolate, eat a bowl of cereal while you're listening to the lesson, some coffee, hakadha. No, those were going to another country just to learn one hadith and go back home. Those were walking kilometers, miles barefoot to learn. Caught in the rain with no umbrella. Eating grass sometimes until their skin starts to turn green because they were poor, but they were on a quest for knowledge. So if ever getting a lesson at 1 or 2 in the morning is, maybe bothering your heart a little bit, think about those people who did much, much more than that. And they had to make their own pens, by the way, and make their own ink. And sometimes they wrote on bones, not on papers that you can fold, and they are light. They did all of that and had more knowledge than we do. We have so much more ease and access to information. We have much less knowledge than they do. And as for the skin turning green, Rayhana, for eating the grass, I haven't tried it myself. I don't hope that I will, but that's what was said, yes. That some of the students of knowledge, they were poor and they had to eat grass so much that they started seeing green in their skin. Let's continue. قال المؤلف رحمه الله فصل. The author, may Allah have mercy upon him, said, chapter or section if you want. أفضل الواجبات وأعلاها وأهمها هو الإيمان بالله. The best obligation, the best of obligations, the best of the obligations, and the highest and most important is the belief in Allah. أي على ما يليق به. That is, believing in Him according to what befits Him. Ta'ala, the exalted. بالإيمان أنه ذات لا يشبه الذوات. By believing that He is a self that does not resemble the selves. Now here, some people, in particular some of our brothers and sisters from the UK, they don't prefer to say self. They don't like to say Allah has a self. They rather say Allah has a reality. And that's fine if they like to. However, don't you find it valid to say Allah Himself? If so, then there's no problem with calling Him a self. Allah is a self that is not like the selves. So His self is not a body. بالإيمان أنه ذات لا يشبه الذوات. By believing that He is a self that does not resemble the selves. متصف بالصفات الكمال اللائقة به, attributed with the attributes of perfection that are befitting for him. واحد بلا شريك في الذات أو الصفات. He's one without a partner in the self or the attributes. موجود بلا ابتداء, existing without a beginning. دائم بلا انتهاء, everlasting without an end. يحتاجه كل شيء, everything needs him. وهو لا يحتاج شيئا, and he does not need anything. حي بحياة لا تشبه حياتنا. He is alive with a life that does not resemble our lives. ليست باجتماع روح وبدن. It is not by the merger of soul and body. ولا بحاجة لدم أو عصب, and without the need of blood or nerves, or nerve if you want singular, or nerve. عالم بكل شيء بعلم لا يزيد ولا ينقص, knowledgeable of everything with a knowledge that does not increase nor decrease, that neither increases nor decreases. ما شاء كان وما لم يشأ لم يكن. Whatever he willed to be shall be, and whatever he did not will to be shall not be. قادر لا يعجزه شيء. He is powerful and nothing renders him unable. يسمع كل المسموعات بسمع أزلي أبدي. He hears everything that is heard with an eternal everlasting hearing. لا يتغير, it does not change. من غير حاجة إلى أذن ولا آلة أخرى, and he has no need of an ear or any other instrument. ويرى كل المبصرات ببصر أزلي أبدي, and he sees every seeable thing with an eternal everlasting sight. من غير حاجة إلى حدقة أو شعاع ضوء, without any need of a pupil or light ray. ويتكلم بكلام أزلي أبدي, and he speaks with an eternal everlasting speech. Here also, some of our brothers and sisters prefer not to use the word speech. They rather say kalam and keep it in Arabic, which also is fine. However, it is valid to say Allah has speech in English, because even speech, although many people might imagine something when you say speech, and we know that none of the attributes of Allah can be imagined. But the speech is not the tongue. Speech is not the sound. Speech is not the language. Speech is an abstract meaning, is a concept. And so it is valid that Allah would have a speech that's not a sound, not a language, not a letter, etc. Because if speech were the tongue, then the tongue would be speech, and the tongue is not speech. And if speech were the sound, then every sound would be speech, and not every sound is speech. And so the speech itself is not the sound. The sound is not speech. Here's a sound. That's not speech. So speech is not the sound. Yeah, I need my voice now, you hear my voice, which is a sound. But the speech is not the sound. Speech is something more than the sound. Something other than the sound. The speech is not the tongue. The speech is not the words also. Rather, speech is something beyond all of that, other than that. It is a meaning. It is something else. So Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has speech, that is not letters, sounds, languages, etc. This is totally valid. Although it is valid, yani, for the one who wants to avoid the word speech, to avoid making a person imagine something. But also there's no problem with someone who explains to a person that we say Allah has speech and it means such and such. It's not hard also to understand, and it's not hard to explain. وَيَتَكَلَّمُ بِكَلَامٍ أَزَلِيٍّ أَبَدِيٍّ, and he speaks with an eternal everlasting speech. وَاحِدٍ لَا يَتَتَابَعُ وَلَا يَتَقَطَّعُ, it is one speech that does not have sequence nor interruption. لَيْسَ حَرْفًا وَلَا صَوْتًا, it is not of a letter nor a sound. وَلَا لُغَةٌ, nor a language. وَلَا يُشْبِهُ كَلَامَنَا, it does not resemble our speech. وَلَكِنَّهُ أَوْحَى إِلَى نَبِيِّهِ مُحَمَّدٍ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ الْمُعْجِزَ بِاللُّغَةِ الْعَرَبِيَّةِ. However, Allah revealed to His Prophet sallallahu alaihi, to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-Quran al-Mu'jiz, the miraculous Quran, bil-lughati al-Arabiyyah, in the Arabic language, وَأَنزَلَهُ عَلَيْهِ بِلِسَانِ قَوْمِهِ, and He revealed it to Muhammad according to the tongue of his people, لِيَكُونَ عِبَارَةً عَنْ كَلَامِ اللَّهِ الذَّاتِي, so that it would be a reference for the speech of Allah, which is the attribute of His self. الَّذِي هُوَ صِفَتُهُ, which is His attribute. مِنْ غَيْرِ أَنْ يَكُونَ مِنْ تَأْلِيفِ بَشَرٍ وَلَا مَلَكٍ, without that revealed expression being the composition of a human or an angel. Yani, Allah revealed a Quran, a miraculous Quran, to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a created expression of the uncreated speech of Allah. That created, revealed expression in Arabic language informs us what Allah said or says with His uncreated speech that's not Arabic. So when Allah says in the Quran, وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةِ, which means establish the prayer, perform the prayer, this means, this created expression means that Allah eternally, without a created speech, without Arabic, without sounds and letters and language, He commanded for the prayer to be performed without saying Arabic words. But Allah revealed an Arabic Quran, and in it, وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةِ, is the command to pray. So, since the Quran is a created expression, a created reference for what Allah says with His uncreated speech, then we know that Allah eternally commanded with His uncreated speech for the prayer to be performed. وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا, and do not approach fornication, is another statement in the Quran. And so we know that Allah eternally forbade with His eternal speech, which is not Arabic or Hebrew or English or any other language, it's the eternal uncreated speech of God. He eternally forbade for fornication to be done, committed. So that Arabic Quran is an expression, a reference for the uncreated speech of God. Is that clear, brothers and sisters? Someone asked a question. Please hold your questions for now until I give you a chance, inshallah. So let me back up. قال وَلَا يُشْبِهُ كَلَامَنَا. It does not resemble our speech. ولكنه أوحى إلى نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم القرآن المعجز. However, he revealed to our Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم the miraculous Quran باللغة العربية, in the Arabic language, وأنزله عليه بلسان قومه, and he revealed it to him according to the tongue of his people, ليكون عبارة عن كلام الله الذاتي الذي هو صفته, so that it would be a reference for the eternal speech of the self of Allah, which is his attribute. من غير أن يكون من تأليف بشر ولا ملك, without that created expression being the composition of a human or an angel. Origin, of course. فيسمى هذا اللفظ المنزل لذلك كلام الله. And because of that, this revealed expression is called the speech of Allah. So it's created. It's Arabic language, it's in created language, but it's still called the speech of Allah, because it refers to the speech of Allah. قال فيسمى هذا اللفظ المنزل لذلك كلام الله. And so this revealed expression, because of that, is named كلام Allah, the speech of Allah. والإيمان برسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى الإنس والجن محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. And among the best of obligations, the highest obligations, is believing in his messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Believing in his messenger to the humans and jinn, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. أي على ما يليق به. That is, according to what is befitting for him, or befitting of him or to him. وأعظم الذنوب الكفر بأنواعه. And the worst of sins is blasphemy with all of its different types. وأشده إثما وعذابا هو التعطيل. The worst of it in sin and most deserving of torment is atheism. بإنكار وجود الله عز وجل, which is denying the existence of Allah, the mighty and great. وأبشعه من حيث كونه خروجا من الحق ورجوعا عنه إلى الباطل الردة. And its ugliest in reference to it being an exiting of the truth and a digression from it to what is invalid is apostasy. Which is going out of Islam. وَلِذَلِكَ قَالُوا الرِّدَّةُ أَفْحَشُ أَنْوَاعِ الْكُفْرِ. That's why they said apostasy is the most abominable of the types of blasphemy. أي أبشعه من الحيثية المذكورة. Meaning it is the ugliest of blasphemy from the aforementioned point of view, meaning not absolutely. Not absolutely from the point of view we just mentioned. أي أبشعه من الحيثية المذكورة. Meaning it's the ugliest of blasphemy from the aforementioned point of view. وهي ثلاثة أقسام. It is of 3 divisions. اعتقادات محلها القلب. Convictions, their place is the heart. فيرتد ويكفر من اعتقد شيئا منها. And so whoever believes in any of those convictions would apostatize and blaspheme. وأقوال محلها اللسان. And saying, their place is the tongue. فيرتد عن الدين من نطق بشيء منها. And so whoever utters any of them would apostatize from the religion. وأفعال تحصل بالجوارح. and doings that take place from the organ. يَرْتَدُّ مَنْ فَعَلَ شَيْئًا مِنْهَا. Whoever does any of them would apostatize. وَكُلُّ قِسْمٍ يَتَشَعَّبُ أي ينقسم شعبا أي أقساما كثيرة. And each division branches off, that is, it divides into many branches, that is, divisions. كثيرة. فمن أمثلة القسم الأول من أقسام الردة وهي الردة الاعتقادية. Among the examples of the first category, the first of the categories of apostasy, which is the convictions of apostasy, الشك في وجود الله, doubting about the existence of Allah, أو وحدانيته أو عدله, or doubting about His oneness or His justice. The justice of Allah means that He does whatever He will. He's not unjust for anything that He will to do. ومنها الشك في حقية رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. And among them is the doubt in the reality of His Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم. أو في حقية القرآن, or in the reality of the Quran. ومنها نفي صفة من صفات الله الواجبة له إجماعا. Among them is denying an attribute of Allah that is necessary to be attributed to Him by consensus. وَهِيَ 13 صِفَةً. Those are 13 attributes. أجمعت الأمة على وجوب معرفتها. The nation has consensus about the obligation of knowing them. وتقدم ذكرها آنفا في شرح الإيمان بالله تعالى. They were mentioned previously in the explanation of the belief in Allah the Exalted. وهي, and they are, al-wujudu, existence, wal-qidam, eternity, wal-baqa, everlastingness, wal-wahdaniyah, oneness, wal-qiyamu bin-nafs, independence, وَالْمُخَالَفَةُ لِلْحَوَادِثِ, dissimilarity, وَالْحَيَاةِ, life, وَالْعِلْمِ, knowledge, وَالْمَشِيئَةِ, will, وَالْقُدْرَةِ, power, وَالسَّمْعُ وَالْبَصَرُ وَالْكَلَامِ, hearing, sight, and speech. Allah. ما شاء الله ما شاء الله ما شاء الله. الله الهادي. Here, a note though, brothers and sisters. The one who denies any one of these 13 attributes, he didn't blaspheme because he went against the consensus. Blasphemed because he went against the sound mind. The one who denies any of these attributes or likens them to the creation, he doesn't blaspheme for going against the consensus. He blasphemes for going against the sound mind. ومن أمثلة الردة نسبة ما يجب تنزيهه عنه إجماعا إليه سبحانه. And among the examples of apostasy is attributing what is necessary to that is attributing to him what it is necessary to clear him of or from by consensus. May he be glorified. Kal jismi wal qu'ud, like body and sitting, wal hay'ati was surah, and form and image, was shakli wal lawn, and shape and color, wal haddi, and limit, wal jahli wal ajzi, and ignorance and inability, wal hajati wal zulm, and need and injustice. ومنها تكذيب أي نبي من أنبياء الله. And among them is contradicting any prophet among the prophets of Allah. أو تنقيصه, or belittling him. أي نسبة النقص والصفات الأسافل إليه. That is, ascribing a prophet with deficiency and attributes of imperfection in relation to a prophet. ومنها جحد أي رد وتكذيب أمر معلوم من الدين بالضرورة. And among them is refusal with knowledge. That is, rejection and contradiction of a matter that is known by necessity in the religion. Why I said refusal with knowledge, that's the meaning of jahd. Al-jahdu huwa an-nafyu ma'al ilm. Al-jahdu, it is denying with knowledge. It's to know something and to deny it with knowledge. It's not mere denial. This word is important here, brothers and sisters, because some people do not understand some of the rules of apostasy, and some people refuse to try to understand them. I'm finding that. Some people, you tell them there are rules that you need to refer back to. Don't just, you hear, for example, that the Sheikh said if someone says such and such, it's kufr. Okay, he might have said that, but there's still other rules. But there's still other rules. You need to put them all together. And then some people will say, I'm not going into all of that. The Sheikh said it's kufr. Laysa hakada. Then you're going to wind up calling a person a kafir unrightfully if you don't want to take all the rules and understand them properly. And in particular, when a person says something against the religion, when he, for example, denies something that's in the religion, it's not the case that by merely denying it, he's a kafir. Rather, bil-jahdi yakfur, he blasphemes because of jahd. Jahd means that he knows it and he denies it. Then he blasphemes. We went over the book Qawa'id Muhimma that covers many of those rules. Congratulations for the one who has been consistent. May Allah make us all consistent in learning and teaching until the day we die. Qawa'id Muhimma, it means important rules. And أي أمر يتعلق بتحليل أو بتحريم أو ندب أو كراهة أو إباحة. Meaning, denying a matter that's related to what's lawful or unlawful or recommended or disliked or permissible. أو بخبر عن ماض أو مستقبل يعلم العالم والجاهل من المسلمين أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم جاء به. Or some information about the past or the future that the knowledgeable and the ignorant both know. The knowledgeable and the ignorant among the Muslims both know that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with that. وبحيث يكون هذا الأمر مما لا يخفى عليه. In such a way that this matter is something that is not unknown to the denier. أي مما لا يخفى على هذا الذي أنكره, which is what I just said. من أمور الدين الإسلامي, to be among the Islamic matters of the religion. لكونه مثلا أسلم من زمان قريب. أو لم يعلم بأن هذا الأمر جاء به الشرع. طيب, hold the questions, I'll give you a chance. لكونه مثلا أسلم من زمان قريب. One second. قال ومنها جحد أي رد وتكذيب أمر معلوم من الدين بالضرورة، أي أمر يتعلق بتحليل أو تحريم أو ندب أو كراهة أو إباحة أو خبر عن ماض أو مستقبل يعلم العالم والجاهل من المسلمين أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم جاء به. أي بحيث يكون هذا الأمر مما لا يخفى عليه، أي مما لا يخفى على هذا الذي أنكره أنه من أمور الدين الإسلامي لكونه مثلا أسلم من زمان قريب. Okay. Now, if there's anyone who's in the lesson now who didn't acquire the obligatory knowledge, then that's it. You're in the lesson you need to be in. We're going over ilm al-hal, the immediate knowledge, what you need now. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to answer your questions. I'm just telling you, give me a moment, inshallah. I'll give you a chance for questions. But sometimes if the questions just come in the middle of what I'm saying, it will cut off my concentration. So that's why I ask you to hold the questions until I give you a chance. Let me back up. So, وَمِنْهَا, and among the examples of apostasy of the heart, جحد أي رد وتكذيب أمر معلوم من الدين بالضرورة. Denial with knowledge, that is, rejection and contradicting a matter that is known in the religion by necessity. أي أمر يتعلق بتحليل أو تحريم أو ندب أو كراهة أو إباحة, that is, a matter related to what is lawful or unlawful or recommended or disliked or permissible, أو خبر عن ماض أو مستقبل, or some information about the past or the future. يعلم العالم والجاهل من المسلمين أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم جاء به. That both the knowledgeable and the ignorant among the Muslims know that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with it. وبحيث يكون هذا الأمر, and in a way that this matter مما لا يخفى عليه is not something that is hidden from the person. أي مما لا يخفى على هذا الذي أنكره, That is, it is not something unknown to the one who is denying it. أنه من أمور الدين الإسلامي, that it is among the Islamic matters of, among the Islamic religious matters. بكونه مثلا أسلم من زمان قريب, which would have been, had he denied it, had it been not denied it, had it been hidden from him, that would have been because of him being a new Muslim. أو لم يعلم بأن هذا الأمر جاء به الشرع, or he did not know that this was something that the religion came with. ومنها التكذيب بالقدر, and among that is denying destiny. باعتقاد حدوث عين أو عمل بقلب أو جارحة على عكس مشيئة الله عز وجل, by believing in the occurrence of a mass or a deed of the heart or a deed of an organ that is not in compliance with the will of Allah Azza wa Jal, the mighty and great. وَبِغَيْرِ تَقْدِيرِهِ وَتَخْلِيقِهِ, that it came into existence without his destining and without his creating. فَإِنَّهُ كُفْرٌ وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, for that is blasphemy. We seek refuge with Allah. وَمِنْهَا الْعَزْمُ عَلَى الْكُفْرِ فِي الْمُسْتَقْبَلِ, and among that is being determined to blaspheme in the future. الْقَرِيبِ أَوْ الْبَعِيدِ, the near future or the far future. وَكَذَا التَّرَدُّدُ فِي ذَلِكَ, and likewise being hesitant about whether or not one should blaspheme. وَعَقِيدَةُ الْحُلُولِ بِاعْتِقَادِ حُلُولِ اللَّهِ فِي غَيْرِهِ تَعَالَى, and among that is believing that Allah dwells in things. وَالْوَحْدَةُ الْمُطْلَقَةِ, or believing that Allah is one with other things. باعتقاد أن الله هو العالم والعالم هو الله, by believing that Allah is the world and that the world is Allah. وهما من أشد الكفر, and the both of them are among the worst of blasphemy. Wallahu a'lam. And we'll stop there for now, and I'll give you insha'Allah ta'ala a chance for questions. It's now just about 11 o'clock, which is when we usually start, but we started a half hour late, and so we'll stop here, and I'll give you time for questions. Maybe a half hour is good enough for any questions you might have. And again, for those of you who are up at an odd hour to take the lesson, I apologize for having to delay the lesson tonight. But just correct your intentions, inshallah. And we'll make up for that half hour now by taking any questions. And if we finish before a half hour passes, then we'll just end the session for now. So if you have any question I can answer for you, I'll be glad to. Wallahu tabaraka wa ta'ala a'lamu wa ahkam. Question: how do you put your knowledge into practice? By doing it. I don't understand the question. Meaning, if a person learns how to make wudu, then he makes wudu. Right? If a person learns how to pray, then he prays. Maybe I don't understand your question. And wudu is by, for example, washing your face, washing your hands and arms, wiping your head, washing your feet. So the person washes his face, washes his hands and arms, wipes his head, washes his feet. Well, subhanallah. Yeah, but it's easy though. Really, you know the answer for your own question. Because what can you do? Not putting your knowledge into practice means you learn and you don't do anything. Putting your knowledge into practice means you learn, and then you take what you learn and you use it. A person learns, for example, how to determine when Dhuhr comes in. So he looks with his eyes. How does he know when Asr comes in? He looks, he learns it, and then he does it. When does Maghrib come in? How does he know? He learns how to determine, and then he does it. Which is different from a person who learns, and then he doesn't do anything. If a person learns how to determine the prayer times, for example, and then he never does it, then that person, what can you do? You can tell him. What can you do? You tell him, do your obligations. If he doesn't do it, he doesn't do it. You still have to do yours. You do what you have to do, mashallah. Question, if someone dropped a penny on the floor and says, oh my God, that says God, we trust on, that says God and trust on it, we can't have God on the floor. By saying this, the person meant that you can't have God's name on the floor. The person knows that God has no place. Of course, that's not blasphemy. That's not blasphemy at all. If someone wrote G-O-D on the board and then someone said, what is that? You say, that's God. If someone wrote Alif Lam Lam Ha on the board and then someone said, what is that? You say, Allah. You're welcome. It doesn't mean that that word is what we worship. No. You're welcome. And the other question, if you posted a question earlier and I didn't get it, what's the best way to give da'wah to an atheist? Does he want it or he doesn't want it? If he wants it, tell him God exists. You say, how do you know God exists? You tell him because the creation exists. Everything that has a beginning is in need of something to give it a beginning. If he says, how do you know God exists? You tell him because the creation exists. Everything that has a beginning is in need of someone to give it a beginning. He says, then who gave God a beginning? You tell him, no, if God had a beginning, he would be a creation. And he would be in need of someone to give him a beginning. Then someone else would be God. Which means that God has to have no beginning. God has to be the one who has no beginning. There has to be one who has no beginning. If he says, I cannot conceive one with no beginning, and you tell him, then you believe that the world happened and nothing made it come into existence. If he says, yes, that's what I believe, you tell him, but really you don't believe that. Because if you came home and you found that your house was ransacked, you wouldn't believe that no one did it. If you came home and you found that all your clothes were folded and your house was cleaned and all your shoes were straightened and everything and all your dishes were cleaned, you wouldn't say no one did that. If you came back and found your whole house was crushed into rubble, you wouldn't say no one did that. If you saw just a pen, you said then his question will be on the prophets. Oh, well, then he's not if he's an atheist, means he doesn't believe in the existence of Allah, in the existence of God. Does he believe in the existence of God or not? Yes or no? Does he believe in the existence of God or not? Okay, then he's not an atheist. So what's the question? How do you prove to him that prophets came with the message from Allah? Okay, now if he believes in the existence of God, you still want to make sure he believes in God properly though. Even before you talk about prophets. This is for anyone. Even if a person says they believe that God exists, don't just skip that whole subject. Make sure they believe in God properly, because most of the people will believe that God is like the creation. So you need to make that person understand that Allah doesn't resemble anything. He's not a body or a shape or a form. He has no color, no time, no place, no image. He's not like anything. Whatever you can imagine, he's different from that. Then if the person accepts that, then you can go on to talk about the Prophet. So he believes in Creator properly. If you believe in Creator properly, then you move on to talk about the prophets. Don't talk about the prophets before you finish talking about God. You talk about the Creator, make him understand the belief in the Creator properly. If he does, then talk about the prophets. How does he know they were prophets? The way to know that someone is a prophet is that he does miracles. How does he know that a prophet did miracles? Prophet Muhammad's miracles, among them, yes. You message that God has sent message by prophets. So you say, how do I know there's prophets? Tell them the prophets do miracles to prove that they are prophets. And what else is the stronger proof? What is the stronger proof to prove that you're sent by God than to do something supernatural that no one can challenge? Proving that you're a prophet is not by winning a race, for example. Proving that you're a prophet is not by building the best house. Proving that you're a prophet is not by having the best clothes, right? So how does a person prove he's a prophet? The proof that a person is a prophet is that he does miracles. Yes, the prophet does miracles as evidence of his prophethood. So then the person will say, how do you know that there were miracles? We tell him that among the miracles of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam are miracles that were conveyed by tawatur. Miracles that were conveyed by tawatur. Tawatur means basically the way you know that civil war really happened. Even if you didn't have photos, you can still know. How do you know there's a place called Alaska? How do you know that there was a man named George Washington? How do you know that there was a man named Napoleon? You didn't see any of it. If you want, use the miracle of the water springing from between the Prophet's fingers. Because this one is by tawatur. Thousands of people witnessed it. Then if he says, how do I know thousands of people witnessed it? Then if he wants to do the research, he can trace back the hadiths and trace back the chains of narration. So he has his proof. So why he won't believe in the Prophet after that? Because he's stubborn. If he's stubborn, then what can you do for him? If he's honest, then he'll follow it all the way through to the end. Now you can make dua for him, but what can you do, Yani? You can't make him believe by making dua for him. You can't do anything for him by making dua for him. You make dua for him and leave him alone. MashaAllah. So have any other questions? It says, I know a Turkish family who give each other presents on their birthdays and just that, no singing or cake, etc. When I ask them, they say that it is their habit. They don't intend to imitate the Christians with it. Does this fall under imitating the rituals or practices of the kuffar? If it's not from the practices of the Muslims, then it's from the practice of the kuffar. Did they find? Would you mind just to repost your question, inshallah? Because the questions keep coming, they come up and people post stuff and the stuff keeps going up. Just copy and paste it for me. So let them check. From the practices of the Muslims or from the practice of the kuffar? Did they, for example, did they know that there's a hadith that the Prophet gave presents on his birthday? Or on people's birthday, or told the companions to do so? Or that the companions did that with each other, or that the students of the companions did that? Or from, even if they say we don't intend to imitate the kuffar, if it's from the kuffar, they are imitating the kuffar even if they don't intend to do so. So they need, if they fear Allah, they need to check. Any other questions? Allahu A'lam. I don't know. I don't know that it's from the practice of the Muslims. I wouldn't do it personally. Why do they have to do it on their birthday? Why can't they do it another time? Question, if someone wasn't sure they committed blasphemy before puberty, or if they did they have to say the testification, blasphemy before puberty is not counted. The one who didn't reach puberty, his bad deeds are not written against him. رفع القلم عن ثلاث. The pen is lifted for 3. عن الصبي حتى يحتلم. It is lifted from the child until he has a wet dream. That means until he reaches puberty. So the bad deeds of the child are not written against him until he reaches puberty. Then from puberty, the bad deeds will be documented. Question, since today everyone claims to be from Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, how do you know who is upon the right creed or guided to as-siratul mustaqim? You learn the right belief, and if a person says a wrong belief, then you know he doesn't have the right belief. Question, if someone doesn't... Oh, okay, I just read that. Like all what we just said tonight was the right belief. Whether he's ignorant or he's not ignorant. If he's a layman or he's not a layman. If he has a wrong belief, he has a wrong belief. Being a layman doesn't save him because he has a wrong belief. Most of the people in hell, they're all scholars. They're all scholars and knowledgeable people. Most of the people aren't scholars. Question, if someone says he doesn't look Muslim, meaning that sometimes you can just tell when someone is a Muslim. The guy was eating at a halal place and was being rude, so the person said, I don't know why he's here. He doesn't even look Muslim. You see, it's a shame that people don't fear Allah before they talk. Did the person know that he's a Muslim when they said that? Wait, answer my question. He didn't know he was a Muslim when he said that, so he wasn't knowingly calling a Muslim a kafir. It's not kufr. Question, if you say something and it's blasphemous but you don't know it is it considered blasphemy? Yeah, not knowing that something is blasphemy doesn't save the person from blasphemy. The Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّ الْعَبْدَ لَيَتَكَلَّمُ بِالْكَلِمَةِ. Surely the slave will certainly speak with the word. لَا يَرَى بِهَا بَأْسًا. He will not see anything wrong with it. He will see no wrong with it. يَهْوِي بِهَا فِي النَّارِ 70 خَرِيفًا. Because of it, he falls into hell for 70 autumns, for 70 years. He will fall for 70 years into the bottom of hell. لا يرى بها بأسا يهوي بها في النار. He doesn't see any wrong with it, and because of it he will fall into hell. That's what the Prophet said. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Question, my friend is Muslim and she said, God bless you, to a non-Muslim. Is it blasphemy? No, it's not blasphemy. And if you want blasphemy, it's spelled like this. That's how you spell blasphemy. Why the Shaykh said it is blasphemy? Why is blasphemy to say, may God bless you? Why is it blasphemy, according to him? Who told him you can't say bless to a non-Muslim? Who told him that? So I didn't say you can say it, but who said it's kufr? Allahu a'lam. I don't know why it would be kufr. Why is kufr? The kafir doesn't have barakah. That barakallahu feek doesn't mean the kafir has barakah. It means may Allah bless him. It means may Allah give you a blessing. May Allah have blessing on you, give you blessing. I'm not saying it's okay, but I don't see why it's a kufr. So if the kafir embraced Islam, did Allah bless him? ما سمعت هذا أبدا. I never heard about that. I don't say it. Yeah, if the person says, okay, hold on. If a person says to a kafir, barakallahu feek, may God bless you. So maybe, why is blasphemy? He means, may God give you something good. May God help you. May God do something nice for you. Maybe he means, may Allah make you a Muslim. If he says, may God make it easy for you, or something like that, none of that is kufr. Okay. So I'm going to ask about it, inshallah. Ma sami'tu hadha abadan. I never heard about saying, if someone says, the kafir says to a kafir, barakallahu feek, he went out of Islam. وأنا لا أفهم كيف. I don't understand how is that. هكذا بمجرده. If he says, Allah yaghfiru laka, while he's a kafir, then that's kufr. That's shay akhar. If he says, may Allah forgive you of your sin while you're still a kafir, then that's different. That's blasphemy. But if you say, may Allah bless you, hold on, wait, don't put a question inside the question. Wait, please. If a person says, because I'm answering your question and also there's other people listening, so that's why. Hold on. If a person says, for example, may Allah forgive you, while you're still a kafir, that's kufr. And if he says to a kafir, may Allah forgive you, and he means, may Allah make you a Muslim, may Allah make you embrace Islam, it's not kufr. If he said, for example, may Allah bless you, barakallahu feek, and he means, may Allah make you a Muslim, how could that be kufr? Or even if he means, may Allah give you something nice, is the air the kuffar breathe called a blessing? If you want, I know for sure it's called a rahmah. Allahu yarhamul kafir fi dunya. Alaysa hakadha? Doesn't Allah have mercy on the kafir in the dunya? Bala. So I'll ask about it, inshallah. I'll ask. Inshallah, maybe there's something I heard, it didn't reach me. I'll ask about it. That's why, brothers and sisters, listen. Don't let anyone tell you something without it being clear. Don't let anyone tell you something without it being clear. And there's nothing wrong with you questioning, asking a question. If I heard someone say to me, if I was in a class or someone told me, saying barakallahu feek to a kafir is kufr, I'm going to ask him why is kufr. If he says Allah doesn't bless the kafir, I'll tell him, how can you say that? Didn't Allah give him money? Didn't Allah give him... Some of those kuffar, they have beauty, some of them have a lot of money, some of them have nice bodies, they have nice health, etc. I don't understand how is it kufr. What I know for sure is kufr to say, Allahu yaghfiru laka wa anta kafir. Wa anta ala kufrik. If he says, may Allah forgive you while you're on your kufr, that's blasphemy. So I'll ask, inshallah. Now, as for the one who believed that and then he said his shahada, baraka in him, la. Barakallahu feeka doesn't mean you have blessing in you. Barakallahu feek means may Allah bless you. Barakallahu feek yani Allahu yubariku feek. Yani Allahu yubariku lak. Barakallahu feek yani barakallahu lak. Allahu yubariku lak. Hey, we have to think about the meaning of the statement. If a person thinks barakallahu feek means you have blessing in you, right? Feeka baraka. I'll ask about that, if that's what he thinks it means. But it means, may Allah bless you. You make dua for the person. You're not, Barakallahu feek doesn't mean Allah put blessing in you, because saying Allah put blessing in you is not dua for a person. That's khabar. يعني barakallahu feek ليس معناه فيك بركة من الله، وهذا ليس دعاء. فيك بركة من الله ليس دعاء، هذا خبر تخبره، تقول له فيك بركة من الله، فيك بركة من الله، هذا خبر ليس دعاء. بارك الله فيك دعاء معناه الله يبارك لك، يدعو له بالخير، هذا معناه، هو يدعو له بالخير. لا، من قال لا كفر أن يدعو للكافر بالخير؟ لا أعرف هذا، لم أسمع هذا، لا أعرفه. أن يدعو للخير للكافر، يعني the person is saying to make dua for the kafir to have goodness is kufr. That's what the person is saying. هذا ما سمعت به أبدا. I never heard about it. So the one who said the shahada because someone told him it's kufr, it depends on what they understood. Let me ask about it before I go any further, inshallah. I'll ask about it before we go any further. Is there any other question? Yeah, bless you means, you said many people understand from bless you to have barakah. Hey, but mal barakah? Yes, they understand bless you means to have barakah. What's barakah, yani? Because for sure Allah has mercy on the kafir. وَسِعَتْ رَحْمَتِي كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. يعني الله يرحم المؤمن والكافر. يا رحمن الدنيا، الله رحمن الدنيا، يعني يرحم المؤمن والكافر. Allah has mercy on the believer and the kafir. يرحمه يعني عنده رحمة له، الله أعطاه، الله أعطاه من الخير. Allah gave the kafir good things. For sure. هذا لا شك فيه. There's no doubt about it that Allah gave the kafir good things. So we'll ask inshallah. Any other questions? Make dua for me, please, inshallah. Hey, brothers and sisters, now, yes, I did say from the beginning, when the person asked me, if someone said, Barakallahu feek for the kafir, is it kufr? I said no. Why I said no? Because what I understand from Barakallahu feek means may Allah bless you. What I understand from that means may Allah give you good things. But Allah gives the kafir good things. Okay, ayn al-mania. Then some people said, some of the sheikhs said that. So I'll ask inshallah. Now if someone says, oh Allah, give this kafir money, make him smart. Oh Allah, make that kafir healthy, heal him, etc. Not kufr. That's not kufr. Don't you know the dua, brothers and sisters? The kafir came to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. كان كافرا جاء إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. قال له عبد المطلب خير لقومه منك. عبد المطلب خير لقومه منك. He said, the kafir said to the Prophet, Abdul Muttalib is better to his people than you are. كان يطعمهم الكبد والسنام. He used to feed them liver and camel hump. وأنت تنحرهم, and you kill them. فرد عليه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بما شاء الله. And so the messenger of Allah responded to that man with whatever Allah willed for him to say to that man. فلما أراد أن ينصرف قال ما أقول. Then when the man wanted to leave, he said, what should I say? قال قل اللهم قني شر نفسي واعزم لي على أرشد أمري. He said to the kafir, the man was a kafir. The Prophet told him, say, oh Allah, save me from the evil of myself and keep me guided, or guide me to what is best for me. واعزم لي على أرشد أمري. اللهم قني شر نفسي واعزم لي على أرشد أمري. Oh Allah, save me from the evil of myself and make me firm on what is most guidance for me. فانصرف الرجل ولم يكن يسلم. The man left and he did not embrace Islam. ثم أتى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Then later he came to the Prophet. فقال له قلت لك علمني. He came back, he said, I said to you, teach me. فقلت قل اللهم قني شر نفسي واعزم لي على أرشد أمري. You said, say, oh Allah, save me from the evil of myself and keep me firm on what is most guidance for me. فما أقول الآن حين أسلمت. So what should I say now that I became a Muslim? فعلمه زيادة. علمه نفس الدعاء وزيادة. The Prophet taught him the same dua and he added to it. So we need to ask about that. He said, say Barakallahu Feek for the kafir is kufr. Allahu A'lam. He said, I'm at university campus and before I finish this year I really want to give da'wah to the non-Muslims around me. What would be the best way to approach them and tell them about Islam? Make sure you learn well first. Learn first and then teach what you learn. Don't teach what you understand. Don't teach what seems cool, like seems right to you. Don't teach what seems appealing to you. Learn first. Learn well, then teach. Take time for lessons. Like join us for the lessons. Learn very well. Learn proofs. Learn the proofs the scholars said. And then teach. After that. وهل من سؤال آخر? Is there any other question? Please, stick with us for a while, inshallah. What's the judgment of saying Ameen to a kafir's dua? I don't know. Any other questions? Could you tell a little more about this birthday matter? It is not a practice of the Muslims to bake a cake for the birthday and put candles on it and put on funny hats and wear and blow on things that make noise and sing happy birthday to you and give presents and all that. None of that is from our religion. Is haram. That's a non-Muslim ritual. It's not our ritual, so it's haram. What about the Brelvis cutting the cake on Mawlid? What does Brelvis mean? Is there an Islamically acceptable way to celebrate your birthday? Sure, you can make extra rak'ahs, you can fast, you can give charity, you can do a good deed that comply with the rules of the religion. The Prophet fasted on his birthday. He said he fasted on Monday because he was born on Monday. And anyway, I never saw anyone cutting a cake on Mawlid. I never, ever. Just this year I did 3 Mawlids, alhamdulillah. It was so nice. Allahu A'lam. Not everybody who does something on Mawlid does something halal. What did they do? They had a cake and they put candles in there, say happy birthday Muhammad. Is that what they did? What do you mean, Allahu A'lam? You saw it or you didn't see it? Okay. So did it have candles in there? Said happy birthday Muhammad? Had candle? Allahu Akbar. Well, not everyone who does something is doing it like... Not everyone who does something on the Mawlid. But brother, Yani, you know that something's wrong here, don't you, Yani? They call themselves Christies. But, I really don't know what you're talking about. Are you saying there are Muslims who celebrate the Mawlid and they call themselves Christies? Allahu A'lam. Anyway, what's haram is to do what doesn't comply with the religion, which came from whatever came from the practice of the kuffar is not our practice, not from our religion. We don't do it. Not everyone who practiced something on the Mawlid is doing something halal. I never heard of such a thing for Mawlid. And I never saw it. So let's stop here now, inshaAllah ta'ala. We've gone over 2 hours. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه